Welcome to Pharmacy Frontiers, a podcast dedicated to the pharmacy profession. I'm Daniel Good. I'm joined with our co-host Tim Mitchell today, and we are excited to bring a number of students from the UMKC School of Pharmacy into the studio today to join us. As a reminder, the comments and opinions of Tim, myself, and our guests today are our own comments and do not represent the Missouri Pharmacy Association, our business employers, or the UMKC School of Pharmacy. Tim, will you please introduce our guests?
Absolutely. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate the intro as the co-host, and I'm really enjoying being on here and discussing these interesting topics. So we're excited to have the UMKC business plan team on. It's a combination of different years of schools of pharmacy, and I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Heather Lyons-Burney to kind of talk a little bit about what's going on. She's a professor at UMKC, a good friend of ours, been a fellow board member of Missouri Pharmacy Association and past president and past Bowl of Hygeia winner, and has done pretty much all, I think. So Heather, you want to take it away and kind of talk a little bit about what you guys are doing? We're excited to have you on.
Absolutely. And thank you all very much for having us on. I'm very excited to be able to share these team members with you and these students that have done quite a bit of work to be recognized as a top 10 team in a national competition. So NCPA has a national competition every year, and it's a student business plan competition. There's a big long title to it, but essentially that's what it is. It's a business plan competition in which students submit a very robust written plan that has a very robust rubric that goes along with it. And so these students put that plan together, and it gets assessed through this rubric, and they get feedback back to them on. And so I will say they did incredibly well. Very minor points taken off. And so obviously because they did so well, they ranked in the top 10 nationally.
Amazing.
I know. So,
yeah.
All the way around. So very proud of them. And because of that, they are invited to attend the NCPA annual conference, which is this October. And they also have the opportunity to present a poster of their business plan at the conference, which is kind of a unique thing for those in that top 10. So again, really proud of them for those efforts.
And that NCPA convention's Columbus, Ohio, is that right?
Columbus, Ohio, coming up in a few short weeks, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully you guys will all be able to get there. So, and Heather, I appreciate that introduction. That's awesome. Would you mind kind of just go around, chat, and kind of introduce each person, and maybe, I don't know if they want to say a few words. We don't have a whole lot of time, but we've got a lot of people on, and we'd just like to maybe tell where you're from, what year you are in school, and then just kind of go from there. So.
Yeah, I'll start with Maddie Beckus. So let her introduce herself.
Hey there, I'm Maddie Beckus. I'm a fourth year student, so I'm out on rotations right now. And I am originally from Houston, Missouri.
Okay. And cool. JC Smith.
Hello, I'm also a fourth year on rotations right now, like Maddie, and I'm originally from Concordia, Missouri.
And Michaela David.
Hi, I am also a fourth year student, also out on rotations, and I am from Walnut Grove, Missouri, very tiny town.
I've heard of Walnut Grove.
And Alex Huntley.
Hi, I'm Alex. I am a third year, so I'm still in classes, but I'm also our only Kansas City student on this group. So.
And last but not least, Milena Pitch.
Hi, I'm Melina. I'm a third year pharmacy student, and I'm also from Concordia, Missouri, just like JC.
Oh, we got two people from Concordia, and I actually had someone, I think in maybe the class ahead of me, that was from Concordia, and I cannot remember her name now. But so you guys must have a lot of good pharmacy people there, huh? That's cool. So I don't know who wants to maybe kind of take over and kind of tell us a little bit about your project as far as the overview. Would that be Maddie, maybe? Is that right?
That could be me.
Yeah, you're the captain, right? The captain?
Yes.
That's right. All right.
So the project itself, it takes all semester for us to get this thing together. And we use every minute of that, I promise. So week by week in class, Dr. Lyons Burney or someone she has come in as a guest speaker will kind of talk on a specific topic, which will be like some kind of portion of the business plan that we then kind of work as a group to complete an assignment for that week. And all of those little assignments of every week will then get compiled into one very large assignment, which is our business plan presentation. So then about 3/4 of the way through the semester, we present that business plan to local business owners. And those could be local as in like in Southwest Missouri, but that's where a lot of us are, but also in Kansas City, Columbia, kind of all over. We've got lots of people that come in on Zoom as well. And Dr. Burney gives them rubrics to grade us on. And that kind of looks like, it looks like the same as the rubric that they use for the NCPA competition. And of course, we're keeping in mind throughout the entire semester as we're doing this, that this is a fictitious business plan that we're creating for this competition, but also that these are the same points that we need to keep in mind for making a real world business plan later. So these are going to be things that we need to think about if we ever go into business ourselves as pharmacy owners, or even any other kind of business owner, or even as just in entrepreneurial spirit working in somebody else's business as well. So keeping all of that in mind, we present that to those kind of local and school associated professionals and owners, and then we take all of their feedback. We rework the plan almost entirely, and then we make a formal written business plan, put all of that together on paper, submit that to Dr. Burney. She also nitpicks it again after that, and then we rework it kind of back and forth until finally we submit that to NCPA by the end of May. And then about mid to late July, they announce who is top 10 and who's top 3. The top 3 teams present live at annual, and they determine the winner based on those live presentations. And those live presentations are essentially the same or based off of that local presentation, like what we did in April.
Cool. So I will say that I appreciate that overview. I've had the opportunity to be a judge for NCPA's business plan competition, not just for you guys, but for the national. And I've seen plans from all over the nation. There's some amazing plans. I didn't get to judge yours this year because they disqualified me for doing that. So one year I did get a UMKC plan. I had to turn it in like, hey, do you realize? So,
might be a little biased.
Yeah, a little bit biased, but it is amazing. And the thoroughness, I can tell you, I've learned a lot from these business plans just by reading them and going through and judging them. And the rubric is pretty intense, actually. So that's exciting to be able to hear that you guys had the chance to kind of learn how to put something like this together and maybe form a business someday, or maybe work with another business. So thank you for that, Maddie. So JC, why did you choose this elective as a class project? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so independent pharmacy has been something that I've been interested in since the beginning. So I always kind of knew that this is something that I wanted to do. And Maddie and Michaela and I have talked about this since P1 year. So it was kind of fun to be able to stick to that. It's a great way to look at all sides of owning a pharmacy. And like Maddie said, even if you work in that administrative or any area like that, it gives you a full perspective and how to build up that business from the beginning and work through those kind of challenges and rebranding and all of that kind of stuff.
What was do you have can you name one, like the biggest challenge that you had whenever it comes to putting this business plan together? I mean, was there anything in particular that really gave you made you work a little bit harder than you thought you would have to work?
So I didn't have all of the financials, but I had the marketing part of the financials, and that is very hard to get numbers on. And how Michaela did that and stuck through that, I applaud her a million times over.
It's challenging, financials and marketing stuff, and just with the crazy world of social media and all the things that's going on. Sometimes it's great, but sometimes it's difficult to put some numbers to if you're trying to do something like this. So I can totally agree.
So Michaela, she mentioned you in the business plan. What kind of business lessons and business skills did you pick up working through this project?
Well, I feel like one thing I learned is I would hire somebody to do the financials. The second thing I would say is just that how important those business lessons are. That no matter whether you're owning the pharmacy or you're just working in an independent, like the money does matter. And I mean, we've heard it often that you've got to make money to stay open. And it's very true. And the numbers can be complicated and they're changing, and you've really got to keep track of them. And that can be very difficult, as I learned.
Yeah, I hear that a lot as well. Is it mission versus margin, right? That you got to have a margin in order to have the mission, but if you do the mission right, the margin will follow. But this is a great lesson for you guys to learn.
Alex, I was going to chat with you just a sec. You want to tell us a little bit about what the competition looked like for you?
Yeah, since I'm the only one on a different campus, I feel like it was a little different from that experience, but I had a great time. I think it's a competition that I would recommend anybody do, even if they're not necessarily wanting to own a business. The rubric was extremely helpful in outlining everything for us, and Dr. Burney was amazing at getting us those resources through other individuals. Since it's not technically done for like the whole competition, I'm really excited to go with Maddie and go do our presentation and see like what the actual competition was for us that also got into the top 10, because during a lot of it, you're flying blind. You have no idea what anyone else is doing. You have no idea how it compares. And I think that was the part that was pretty difficult for all of us, was we didn't know what to expect, or if we were even along the right lines of what is expected by everybody else. So I'm really excited to go do that portion of it, since we're still getting to that.
So Alex, what was that like working remotely? Everyone else was in the room, but then you had to be dialed in through the virtual tool. Is that right?
Yeah, it was a little tough sometimes, because like they would all have a chance to talk outside of the classroom really easily. And I would have to like get tagged in through messages and, in class do really quick updates with everything. But the girls did a really good job at making sure I was in the loop and having all of the documents ready so I could go and do my stuff with it. It was also really beneficial that we had some of our presenters over on the Kansas City campus, and then being able to like have that in front of me instead of just the screen is really nice.
Well, kudos to you, Dr. Lyons-Burney, for bringing together the technology to bring these different campuses together. That's really forward thinking. Thank you for making that happen.
I take all the credit for all the technology. No, I don't.
All right. So Milena, for real, is this a real project? I mean, I've read through the 26 pages and it's very impressive. So is this a project when you guys graduate that you're going to turn this into a real business? This is not just academic, right? This is for real?
I mean, I suppose in a sense, yes, it is a real project, but on the other hand, also no. So I would say kind of both. It's very much a real project in that we, poured this stereotypical blood, sweat, and tears into it. We worked really hard on it. And it's a business plan, maybe a baby business plan to some, and it's a very early stage of life, but we did work hard on it. So it is a real project.
You got to start somewhere, right?
Absolutely.
As a collective, are we planning on starting up CCA after graduation? Not that I have heard of. So if that's the plan, I've yet to be looped in on it.
Hey, Daniel's also known as Daddy Warbucks. You can use him for your seed money. All right. So
Perfect. I know who I'm going to give a call here in a few years.
I think you have me confused with Brian Burney.
Oh yeah, Brian Burney. Sorry, yeah, I should have said that. That's Dr. Burney's husband. If you don't know that, okay.
They have met him, so.
Okay. All right, awesome.
Well, I was going to ask them if there was a favorite or a most entertaining guest lecturer that came into their class, and maybe we all do know who that is. I don't know. Is there a favorite you guys can pick out?
I personally think Mr. Dr. Burney by far.
I can.
Okay.
He helped the most with the financials. I felt like we were having a one-on-one in the middle of class and just really talking about the financials there for a little bit.
Very good.
Yeah, Brian was great. And then we also had Dr. Bowers. She came in and she presented on how to present. But there's such little things that we don't think about that make very large differences when you're presenting to people live and in person. You're like, oh, I never thought about that. Or the different little things that go into your PowerPoint presentations that you're like, oh, that does make a difference. And so it's just nice to get some like hands-on practice with that and really kind of see that practical application there.
I totally agree with you, Maddie, there. I've seen the presentations at NCPA conventions annually, and those guys have practiced that. I mean, my kids have all been in speech and debate. I wasn't. I can tell you these guys look like they have trained in a speech and debate program and are honed. And so I think that's really important to have speaking skills that show confidence and, because you've got your judges sitting right in that front row when you're at the actual competition and watching your every move. Now, granted, when you submit your presentation, they don't talk to you, but I do think it's really good to have those skills just for general life. I mean, if I had the skills that some of my kids have, I'd feel much better about how I do conduct my business on a regular basis. So anybody else have other favorite guests on your throughout your class? Did you guys hit them? Dr. Burney sounds like he was the top one, huh?
Yeah. Well, we had a variety. We also had, again, like Alex was talking about too, many judges that were there, call them judges, but people that gave feedback, experts in the field, which is wonderful. I really do lean on the pharmacy community to give these students some feedback and insights that, I'm not seeing or might be blind to because I'm in the trenches with them and building this plan. So having those outside perspectives is wonderful too. I will say that this plan was based on a pharmacy in Springfield that Nathan Aldrich owns. And so Nathan and Brooke Aldrich were also very helpful, I think, with the students, gave a lot of great feedback and very real feedback, which I think is the beauty of pharmacy and this profession, is that we can be so transparent. And all we want to do is help them, help the next generation. And, at you all, and we all recognize that these are the innovators and the entrepreneurs that are going to take our profession from us. And we want it to be in the safe hands of these people. And so let's give them every tool and every skill that we possibly can to help them succeed.
I think that's amazing. And, you guys are the next generation of the pharmacy profession. And we're, so proud of your accomplishments, and you guys need to be proud and you need to walk tall for that. Daniel, what do you think? Do you think these guys, what's next for you guys? Do you have start with JC. What do you plan on? You're in your fourth year. I know you're just getting started with rotations probably a couple months ago and trying to get your decisions made, moving into a career. What are your plans, or maybe a residency? What are your plans, JC?
So I have always been interested in community and that relationship that you build. And so my first 4 rotations have actually been at community rotations. And so that's something I'd like to stick to. And hopefully I'll get something closer to Springfield or closer to home. Those are my goals after graduation. And it's something that I'm really passionate about working in.
Okay. Maddie,
Well,
go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to see, Maddie, what's your intention after graduation?
So pretty similar to JC, I really like that provider-patient relationship and just kind of building those and earning that trust so that when you're then doing that patient education, they understand, the gravity of the situation and the importance of adherence and why, what we care about matters. So I love building that, but I also really love clinical services too. I kind of went back and forth between AmCare and independent. And I think at one point I looked at Dr. Burney. I said, I don't know if I want to be the boss of all the things all the time, like the owner. And she looks at me, she goes, you do.
I think you'd be a good boss, Maddie. I think you'd be a good boss.
I mean, I appreciate it. And I've learned a lot on rotations of like, in ownership, you can do those really cool clinical services and then make money off of them. And use those to do, and if you try it and it doesn't make money, that's okay. You try something else and you keep going. And so I really just kind of like that entrepreneurship, that like innovation, be able to try new things and meet the needs of the people around you. And so I'm really leaning towards that.
Very good. What about you, Melina? What's your intention?
I really am not sure right now. Being a P3, I do have some more time to decide. I'm definitely leaning a couple of different directions, but one thing that I will say after taking this class, I've learned like how much I like to use the entrepreneur part of my mind and solve problems and like find ways to meet a community's needs. So whatever I'm doing, I hope that I'm able to do that.
Very good. And Michaela, have you got a plan for your future?
Not a concrete plan. I'm thinking maybe residency, maybe a fellowship. Honestly, I'm not really sure what I want to do.
Keep your options open, sounds like, right?
Yeah, I think whatever I do, it will be unique. I don't like, it will be definitely whatever I do will be interesting.
Doesn't sound like you're a cookie cutter kind of person.
Not really, no.
Yeah, you're going to be out thinking outside the box. Dr. Burney, I think that's right up your alley there, girl.
And that's what we need, right, Tim? We need this next generation to be creative, to get out of the box. And definitely Tim and some others in our state have been plowing the way to make that happen, along with you, Dr. Lyons Burney. But thank you for making this next generation have that same kind of mindset. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex, I know you're a P3 as well, right? One of the youngsters in the group here, but what kind of rotations do you got set up that are going to lead to your success after graduation?
So I don't have any rotations currently set up, but I am definitely wanting to open my own pharmacy. It's something that I thought about going into pharmacy school. My parents both own their own business, and I definitely want to dive right in and be in charge and make the decisions. I know you were asking, like, is this a business plan that we were wanting to take out and actually use? And while this one's based around all 5 of us working together, I think I'm going to be taking big chunks of it and putting it towards what I want to do in the future for sure.
Awesome.
Very cool. Very nice.
So Dr. Burney, we're going to start wrapping some things up here. Can you tell us anything else you want to talk about on the business plan and I don't know if there's anything else we want to chat about as far as what may be pertinent for maybe future students or what you may want to say about it.
Right. I will say that UMKC has been very successful with the business plan competition. This is our 9th year of being in the top 10 in a row. In 2018, we were in that top 3 slot as well. But I will say that in that top 10, they score pretty high. And when you get in that top 10, it is literally half a point, 0.25. I mean, the difference is so tight that it's just truly amazing and quite an honor. And, I just continue to encourage pharmacists, not just faculty members, but great pharmacists who honestly, like I said, are so caring and want to help foster this next generation. But, invite them in, like as you all have, invite them in to see the innovations and talk about them as well. I think as pharmacists, one thing that's challenging is a lot of work goes on in our heads and we don't explain it very well. And so students, may see something in action, but really not understand the why behind it. And so, if we as pharmacists can just take that time, foster not only people that are in pharmacy school, but those that are coming into pharmacy school, college students, high school students. So even students have that role. Why did you pick this profession? And so, the sky's the limit. As a professor or a teacher or educator of pharmacy students, one of the things that we say is, we're here to educate the person who's going to be giving you your medicine, giving you your flu shot, working alongside the providers in that critical care unit, taking care of your baby that's in the neonatal intensive care unit, picking out the medicines for you in surgery or in oncology. And then they're the ones that are creating the next big things. So the next big drugs, the next big innovations, advocating for their profession, and on and on. So, we all got to pull up our bootstraps and jump in. And so, I love this podcast because it really is that call to action, I think, for a lot of us. And, again, applauding these students for taking on such a big project and doing so very well.
And congratulations to you, Dr. Burney, for being involved in this program for so long and having such a successful program. And these students are an example of what you're doing for the profession and the future of our profession. So thank you, and congratulations to you again. So
thank you.
Yes, as I was talking with Dean Milchert this weekend at the MPA conference, I was sharing my experiences as I travel the country. UMKC is getting a great reputation across the country, having great students and great business plan students. So a testament to your leadership and a testament to your class. Well done.
Well, that's another wrap. Great job, guys. Thank you for being on today. I'll let Daniel close us out.
Well, thank you all for joining us, and congratulations on your top 10 finish at the business competition. Would like to encourage our listeners, if they run into you out in the community, to congratulate you. And we'd like to encourage our listeners to also tune in to the next week's episode of Pharmacy Frontiers podcast. It's available to anyone on their favorite podcast streaming application. But we look forward to seeing you all in the next edition of Pharmacy Frontiers.